morning, everyone. If I could have your attention, please. I'd like to welcome you all to today's meeting. And I think you all know Karen, who's in charge of the web content. She will be with us here in our meeting. Perhaps we can make a start. Ms. Campuet, the secretary, will call the roll of attendees.
As I read the roll, please indicate if you are present. Ms. Christina Duran, HR Associate and Timekeeper.
Present.
Ms. Leia Maytarsena, Talent Acquisition Manager.
Present.
Ms. Catherine Remulla, HR Safety Manager.
Present.
Ms. Karen Claudine Dabi, our System Administrator and our guest for today.
Present.
Let's go now over the report from the meeting held last January 5th, 2022. Let me summarize the main points of the previous meeting. We began the meeting by approving the new return to work process for employees that was established last December 20, 2021. We moved on to discuss the vaccination requirement and COVID-19 testing updates. Then we brainstormed how to make the recruitment process more effective.
Thank you for the report, Ms. Campuet. And are there any other questions about the report? If there are no objections, the Secretary's minutes of the last meeting will stand approved. Moving forward, the aim of this meeting is to refine processes for virtual recruiting and onboarding during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll go over the updated draft of the proposed online hiring process, discuss ways to adapt remote processes for screening job applicants, decide on the continuation of on-site hiring process, these technological tools and IT support needed to court and engage prospective hires. And to present the first item on the agenda, Ms. Duran from the Planning Committee will present the updated draft of the proposed online hiring process.
To improve the way we conduct on recruitment and onboarding process during this time of the pandemic, the HR Planning Committee updated the proposed five-stage virtual hiring process. Here is stage 1. Applicants must submit an application through our partner online platforms or via the company website. On the other hand, it also involves conducting a phone interview to narrow down a lengthy list of candidates and identifying the stronger ones to bring forward in the process. Then it also arranged 20 to 30-minute one-on-one interviews via Zoom or Google Meet. All interviews must be recorded. Similarly, psychometric assessments add exceptional value when reviewing candidates at the final interview stage. This is also done via Zoom or Google Meet. Lastly, new hires will undergo virtual onboarding using the online platform designed by the IT department. They will receive an online onboarding toolkit. As you can see on this slide, new hires will receive everything they need for the virtual onboarding, which they can access on our website portal. They will be provided with their own username and password to access the onboarding portal.
All right, so you have heard the report of the Planning Committee with the recommendation that the process or the proposed online hiring process be approved. Does everyone agree to adapt the Planning Committee's recommendation? Ms. Campued, please do the roll call for the votes.
As I read the roll, you may say yes or no to cast your vote. Ms. Duran?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sena?
Yes.
Ms. Remulla?
Yes.
Ms. Dabi?
Yes.
All right. Everyone voted yes to the approval of the Planning Committee's recommendation.
All right, now let's proceed to the next item. Discuss ways to adapt remote processes for screening job applicants, including interviews. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Sena, who is going to lead in the next point.
I suggest we get around the table first to get everyone's input on how we can adapt remote processes for screening job applicants. I will call the roll to hear everyone's ideas. Ms. Duran?
I suggest that we use the job features in Facebook since most of the Filipinos are active Facebook users based on the study conducted by the HR department last quarter of 2021.
Miss Remulla?
I highly suggest that we modify our shifting schedule to accommodate more phone interviews.
Miss Campued?
Aside from doing one-on-one virtual interviews, I think we should also allow submission of video applications. And I think it might be a great way to get to know the candidates, especially for creative positions.
I agree with Ms. Campued. We have to adapt to new trends in the application process. Based on our data, the video application is something that has been practiced in our country ever since before the pandemic.
All right, so Miss Dabby, what's your opinion on this?
I agree with Ms. Campued and Mr. Sena. I can consult the ID department about this so we can discuss if we can add an uploaded video feature to our website.
That's good. Everyone, is there anything you want to add? If nobody wants to add, Ms. Campuet, please note that this will be further discussed at the next meeting. Let's now proceed to the third agenda. We have to evaluate and decide whether or not to continue on-site hiring operations. I'd like to turn it over to the HR Safety Manager, Ms. Catherine Remulla, who is going to lead the floor.
The information that I will present is based on the data gathered as of January 28, 2022. Here in Makati City, where our office is located, the current active COVID-19 cases are 1,884. Per the Department of Health COVID-19 tracker, is it evident that the number of the positive cases in NCR is still high and that is higher compared to pre-Omicron numbers. On the other hand, the data from our talent acquisition team shows that there are huge decline in the number of our on-site applicants during pandemic. According to the data presented, as the HR safety manager, I suggest that we suspend the on-site hiring process until the alert level number 3 status is lifted.
Okay. Ms. Campued, please call the roll to vote whether or not to continue on-site hiring operations.
As I read the roll, you may say yes or no to cast your vote. Ms. Duran,
Yes.
Mr. Sena,
Yes.
Ms. Remulla,
Yes.
Ms. Dabby.
Yes.
Everyone voted yes to suspend the on-site hiring process until the alert level 3 status is lifted.
Thank you, Ms. Campued. Now, let's proceed to the final agenda, which is to identify and list technological tools and IT support needed to court and engage prospective hires in an age of remote work and social distancing. Ms. Duran and Ms. Campued are both our HR associates. They will lead the floor now.
So here in the Philippines, the following are the most technological tools that can be used in applying for a job: JobStreet, LinkedIn, BPO Jobs, Twitter, Indeed the Philippines, Google for Jobs, Job Island, and Caliber. Since we've listed many items here, I suggest that we narrow down the choices into three, so we can focus first on the most important technological tools.
That's a good point, Ms. Duran, but I think we should shelve that until next time. Any other thoughts you want to share, Ms. Campued?
Yes, I suggest that the IT department help us to have a better app or website menu where applicants can track their application status, and at the same time, we can also monitor their applications. A chatbot and a live chat tool for the inquiries of potential candidates and new hires are also needed. I also suggest that IT department assist us in increasing our social media visibility.
Okay. And as the system or the company system administrator, would you like to share your thoughts on this, Ms. Dabby?
I think we should make this priority for this month. And we might have to consider looking for a web developer to help with this. I can suggest using MyTrack. It is a web-based tool where they can find their full details, their application status, and even their interview schedule. If they get hired, they can get also access the onboarding toolkit using MyTrack.
I think that's a good idea. Do we still have the time today to discuss more about this, Miss Duran?
Unfortunately, we're running out of time. You may leave it for the next meeting.
Sure. So it looks like we've covered all the main points of this meeting. So if I'm correct, please schedule the next meeting for February 10, Miss Campued.
Okay, before we close, let's just summarize the main points. To sum up, we discussed the first agenda about the updated five-stage virtual proposal. Everyone voted yes to the approval of the planning committee's proposal. As for the second agenda, everyone gave suggestions on ways to adapt remote screening of job applicants, and it was decided by the chairperson that further discussion about it will be an agenda for the next meeting. Furthermore, everyone voted for the suspension of the on-site hiring process until the alert level 3 status is lifted. And for the last agenda, we discussed the technological tools and IT support needed to court and engage prospective hires in an age of remote work and social distancing. The next meeting will be on February 10, 2022.
Right. So that's all for today's meeting. Are there any other questions before we finish? No? Great. So I would like to thank you all for attending. That's all for today.